Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Big Home Ed Conversations. My name is Kelly Rigg. I'm a home educating mum of two and a qualified mindset and ADHD coach. I'm really passionate about supporting parents and neurodivergent families as they navigate children not okay at school and ultimately then the transition from mainstream schooling into home education. I'm here together with my co-host, Ashley Vanerio. She's a fellow home ed mum of three and a former primary teacher. We created the Big Home Ed Conversations podcast with what began as honest, heartfelt talks around the coffee table and has now grown into a space where hundreds of listeners now tune in for real, unfiltered conversations about alternative education, mindset, and educational philosophies. We cut through the noise and focus on what really matters to home educating families. As you hopefully know by now, this season we are sponsored by Strew. We have been really excited to be using this app. It is a home education logging app that was designed by a home educating mum and her brother. And they reached out to us asking us to honestly review the app, to use it ourselves, and to come on and talk to you about it on the podcast. One thing which has been really surprising, as we've now been using it for quite a while, is it's actually helped me to really start to recognize some of the kind of overarching themes of our home educating journey. So we talked last week about study points. There's like a little setting in there that you can put what kind of learning you do with your children. And it had given me these different study point categories like literacy, maths, understanding the world, etc. And what's really interesting, and I got Woody to clarify that the points are 40 points per bar, to kind of one for each of the school weeks, essentially. So actually what's really fascinating is I've only been using this for a few months, but we're already almost all the way there on all the bars, actually, which is really fascinating. So literally just a couple of months into our home ed journey, and I'm already like logging plenty of things every week that are ticking off, going towards us filling up these bars. But what's really fascinating is obviously we come under a lot of pressure as a home educating community to make sure that our children are socializing and that they're working on their communication and language, that they're getting out and understanding the world, and being kind of a part of the real world, as people like to put. And oddly enough, those are our three strongest bars, which is making me smile because those are three targets that clearly we are well on track to actually doing. And it's really lovely because I think we know this as a home educating community. We know that this isn't real. This isn't true about our kids, that we know they're social and we know that they're really incredible people, so lovely with their friends, and that they have such respect and interest in all ages of people. But the point is that it's really nice sometimes, I think, if you had family or whoever really in your world who was skeptical or worried about their home ed journey, that I do feel also this could be a great tool for kind of going, well, look, this kind of gives you an overview based on everything that I've been logging that we've been up to. Look how much literacy they've done. Look how much understanding of the world they're doing. Look how much physical movement they're getting. Like, actually, they're doing great. And you can set it up to be the same as the Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 national curriculum if you want to. So kind of like the same level of targets that they'd be working to in school, which would really help you to show other people that actually, like, they are well on track. They're doing plenty. And I think for those who are quite worried about home ed from like in the beginning, this could be quite helpful to kind of just ground you a bit and make you realize how much they are really doing.
I really like the insight it's provided too. I think that what's been really powerful to me is that as we're logging activities, I'm seeing how many topics they touch on. And I think that that's been really helpful because I am programmed to see science as science and math as math and history as history. But I forget that sometimes history is also geography, and it's also reading, and it's literature, and it's grammar, and it's practicing speech, and you're doing essays, things like this that can come and touch on so many other kind of categories of school, if you will. And I think that that has been incredibly helpful to actually open my mind up a little bit like, okay, wow, we could maybe even cut back on some other things because we're doing it in other places.
Yeah.
And it can help you, I think, even realize where there might be some fatigue in your homeschool or where there might be areas to lean into in just a way that you weren't expecting. So yeah, I think that that's been really kind of important as I look to plan, and sort of even for our topic today is like what's coming up in the summer and into the fall. And this has been helpful for me to see where I might be placing some things.
Yeah, no, it's been really great. And so, I mean, if you guys are thinking about giving it a whirl, do make sure you mention Big Home Ed when you do sign up. And then that code will just basically put you in our pile. So he knows where everybody's coming from. But yeah, it's obviously really lovely to be giving this a whirl and to obviously be supporting fellow home educating families as well who are just trying to make enough money to keep their home ed journey going, frankly. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Essentially, we've had to have a small break. So we've got sort of bits of traveling going on and chaos in our lives. So we thought we'd just come back with a nice little chit chat episode, really just to let you kind of get some insight into who we are a little bit, have a bit of a chat about us if you don't know us well yet, if you haven't gotten to know us over these past years already, but also just to chat about our summer and what we've got planned and how we kind of keep rolling through these months. Kind of, I think one of the things which I'm quite aware of is that over the years that realistically, I don't see the year in school years anymore. I don't see it in terms so much either. I sometimes still use those phrases, like terms, as in like meaning just like
But
we're
you
doing a
have
topic right
to.
now. That's some sort of
Yeah.
categorization, I guess. Because we're doing like the rainforest topic at the minute, for example, and I just like, well, this term we're doing rainforesty stuff, and I don't really mean that it's going to go on for a whole term. I just kind of mean that this chunk of time, it's a,
Yeah.
it's
For
not
the
even a
foreseeable future
defined, yeah,
until we're bored.
until we're bored. There's no real defined time to it, but I do find myself using the word sometimes. But anyway, by the by, the kind of fun things that I find myself doing this time of year is really kind of, you see this sort of open sea of time where things are going to be a bit busier. A lot of our usual clubs and things will stop. And I think sometimes it can feel a little bit too open for me about this time of year. I start to feel a little bit like, oh God, I've got a whole month to try and fill with play dates and things to do. And it becomes actually a lot more mental work. I don't know if you find that, kind of find yourself having to be like a bit more prepared or a bit more organized to make sure you're not just like
Oh my gosh, it's
festering
so
at home.
funny. I feel the total opposite. When everything stops,
Really?
I like take a deep breath and I'm like, woo, we get to relax.
I think it
Open
might be
schedule.
because I've been quite good at strictly keeping our weeks quite chill the past couple of years.
Yeah.
My youngest isn't able to cope with an awful lot of pre-planned activities, so we do need to keep it quite light. So realistically, I suppose we've only got like 2 to 3 set things a week that are happening every week that we have to kind of try and get to. And so if when
Mm.
the summer holidays come around, all of those stop. And so really, like, yes, okay, it can be nice for a little while. But actually then we end up being like properly housebound if we're not careful, and everyone else has got plans and they're doing things. I'm just like, hello, I need to come out. Is anyone around? So I have to get a bit more
Yeah.
organized now, because otherwise I'll be like frantic. I won't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I definitely want to lean into some of the national trust sites. So we have a membership for that now. And of course, there were places we wanted to go last week during term time, which ours is a non-term time
Mm-hmm.
membership. So we're like, nope, which is fine. I'm sure they would have been crowded, but maybe not. Who knows? So we couldn't go anyway. So when we're doing a bit of travel now, but when we get back, that is one of the things where I think as we now have open schedules and the fact that like sometimes we had stuff in the evening like swimming and it's you always have to be like, okay, how long is it going to take us to get back and get changed and get ready for this specific time? So it's not really worth
Mm-hmm.
driving an hour and a half to this thing because it's a pretty long drive and we won't have enough time to spend there to make it
Mm-hmm.
worth it. And like all that calculation, right? Like even I feel like calculating backwards into, how we're going to record this podcast. Like there's so
Yeah.
much time manipulation that happens as the like household manager. I don't want to say a mom because there are dads that are doing this too, but
Mm-hmm.
largely I feel like it is the women and that gets exhausting. So
Mm-hmm.
for me to not have that pressure in the summer when the things stop is amazing. So I'm
Yeah.
like, this is great. So we can drive up to Reading and do something and we have no pressure on when to be home.
Yeah.
And it just opens up the days because, like, well, now we don't have art class. So we can go somewhere on this day and not have
Yeah.
to. Yeah. So I love it. I think
Mm.
I definitely feel at the end, like, so last week when it was term time, we only had one activity planned and they had their guitar lessons still. But
Mm.
that meant that and I was prepping to go on a trip. So I was largely not helpful and they had like open rein to play. But there
Uh-huh.
was a lot of like, I'm bored. And I'm like, you know what? Good. This
Uh-huh.
was my life. Like, we didn't have anything when we were like that you guys have now. Like, there was no TV on demand. There was
No.
no screens, like iPads in your room. Not that they were allowed to do any of
No.
that, but like none of that. Like, turn the radio on. Like, I don't think we even have a radio, but yeah, like be bored, go play outside. And they did. But every
Mm.
once in a while they would come in. And I found when they say they're bored, it usually means I'm actually hungry.
Yes. Yeah, I know. It is really lovely having that freedom. And I guess it's important to kind of recognize that our weeks need to be sustainable, right? Because I think sometimes when we take these moments on the half terms or the holidays and we go, I needed that break, then actually it's sometimes a bit of a sign that our week to week is actually a little bit nuts and that maybe we do need to be a
Mhm.
bit more gentle on ourselves. But I also find it depends on your kids too, right? Because I mean, my eldest would be so happy if every single day we were going somewhere and doing something. Like
Mhm.
100%, he would live that life with the full energy that it requires.
Yeah.
But my youngest is just, she gets really socially overwhelmed. And the longer we're out, the harder it becomes. The more people we're with, the more tricky it is for her. And so it is a lot of work to try and make sure that she's happy in those different environments. So we have to be really careful with how much we do. And I find it so difficult striking that balance. And I'm sure lots of you will relate to that out there listening, whether you've got one kid or multiple, frankly, because you count too. You might have things where you really love doing lots or they really don't like doing a lot. So it happens no matter what your family composition is.
Mhm.
But it's, yeah, I mean, when I look forward at our plans, I guess, for the summer, I haven't got a lot at the moment, if I'm being perfectly frank. We have our Rambles camp that we go on every year, which I'm really looking forward to, which is a massive group of home educators that we all go have a great time together, which I'm looking forward to a lot.
Mhm.
So I am looking forward to that. And I think I am taking my son to Greece in September. So we're kind of getting prepped and
That's
organized
fun.
for that. I'm so looking forward to that. And I did find a little, me and cruises, honestly, I've got problems. But I
Mhm.
happened to find one the other day that I'm really excited for him for. I'm really hoping I can make it work. So it's a 3-night cruise, but it goes from Athens and it goes to it goes over to Turkey and to Santorini and to Heraklion and a couple of other places. So you do like 6 stops in 3 days or 4 days,
Wow.
which is crazy. Like just like you're somewhere in the morning, then you're somewhere else in the afternoon. Like it's
Yeah.
really, really cool. So it's just like a much smaller ship. Like it's not like a big cruise ship. It's a little ship. But honestly, it just looks epic. And so I might have to splurge a little bit and go a little bit more for that one because I think that would be really cool to get to see loads of different places. But yeah, anyway, I'm getting like completely sidetracked. I can't stop thinking about holidays. That's basically my problem is I basically
It's that time
live
of year.
on holiday in my brain somewhere else all the time.
No, it's that time of year. I think that's the thing, like, we again, because it takes so much mental space to
Hmm.
plan for these things, and then once you book them, because like, we are currently away from home, and then we will be again, like, we have the camping trip, we have a trip to my husband's family, and so all of this is, like, going into the calculation of, like, "Okay, well, how much math will we get done in
Mm.
July?" And, like, it can but also if it's good weather, then I wanna go and visit this place, or I want to, get in some point we gotta get to Hadrian as well. I don't know, like, there are so many things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so really trying to, like, it's nice to have that look to the next thing, it's nice to have something to be excited for. But there's
Yeah.
also, like, the work that goes along with it. But I just think it's that time of year. We're coming out of winter. We had really good weather in the UK. Too good. It was so hot. And I think that just sprung everyone into holiday mode. Like they want to go on vacation.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what we have to remember as well is when you think about how many weeks a year kids are out of school, I think it's more than 12, I think, over the course of the year, plus all the inset days and all the rest of it. And I think, and also weekends. There was a great article that was out, I found when I first started home educating that really helped to get my mind on track, which was a teacher who was basically explaining how many
Mhm.
actual hours are spent in a classroom learning stuff at school. And it worked out something like 45 minutes a day. If you spread it out over a full 365 days, that 45 minutes a day counted. Because that's as much as the kids were actually getting if they were at school. And I think sometimes as home educators, we are expected to provide, well, according to the local authority anyway, a full-time education. And that gets confusing because it's like, well, what is a full-time education? Should I be doing 30
Mm,
hours a week? Like, what is that? And the truth is that realistically, and the way they phrase it is often that it's supposed to take up the majority of your child's time.
right.
And
Which
that,
is a little nauseating, but okay.
yeah, it's a bit worrying, isn't it? That kind of thought is just like you're supposed to literally be packing stuff into their brains every minute of every hour. But
Well,
the
and
truth is
define
that it's not.
majority. Is that like just over 50%? Or is that
Hmm.
like 80%?
Yeah,
Like what is the because that is a qualifying piece that I would like to know. I
yeah.
guess
There
it's
is no
vague on
qualifying piece
purpose, but
legally.
yeah.
There is no. is set
Yeah.
amount, which is what
Vague
is
on
so
purpose.
difficult
I'll
about it,
take it
really.
though. I'd rather
Yeah.
have it loose than like them say
Yes.
9 hours and I'll be like, "Oh no."
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I can't do 9 hours a day. That's nuts. But I think the truth is that we think that children in school have got this rigorous 5 or 6 hours in school every day, and it's we forget sometimes that we're allowed weekends and we're allowed holidays, and we're actually allowed to have like a whole month sometimes where not an awful lot is happening at all because you're busy and you're traveling and you're doing things, and things have sort of
Mhm.
dropped off a little bit. And for a long time, I felt a lot of guilt or anxiety around this. Like, we moved house, for example, a couple of years ago, and I did feel like for a couple of months, pretty much all maths my son was getting was how much weight should a box be
Mhm.
to make it liftable? How many should you stack on top of each other before they fall down? Like, I really felt like that was all we were doing. Like, there was such precious little time to be doing proper sit down, like, academics with him. He was only very little back then. But ultimately, it's really important to remember that actually the real world stuff, these experiences, these places we go and the things we do and the days out we have and the fun we spend together, that connection and real world knowledge and all the rest of it all counts. Every single second counts. And ultimately, I guess what I'm trying to get to is I've noticed that I am no longer thinking that way. Like, I don't actually tend to worry too much week to week. I have like little check-in moments with them where I kind of notice certain skills or I observe certain skills, or we were playing a game. Me and my daughter were messing about with some little fraction magnets we've got, which are different slices of fruits and vegetables and things. And she was just trying to have fun trying to line them up because they have to be going exactly right to make it look right. Otherwise, the kiwi looks really funky, like it's been chopped into
Right.
12 slices and then put back together. So she was trying to make the pictures look right. And I just started playing around with trying to mix and match the fractions to still make a whole.
Mhm.
So, like, using a third and then 3/9 and then 2/6. 2/6. I can't speak today. And she was like, "What are you doing?" I'm just like, "I'm just trying to see how many different types of fractions we could still use and they could all still fit together." So, like, making little fruit salads. And we just had fun for ages playing with it until she was starting to use some of the language around the different fractions and blah blah blah. We ended up having
Mhm.
a really great chat, and it made me kind of realize, okay, this is roughly where she's at in terms of understanding fractions. That it's just an opportunity to just check in from time to time and for me to go, okay, fair enough. She seems to be grasping that. Or today we're drawing a number line and I was going, right, so I've got 0, then it's 10, then it's 20. What's the next one? And she was able to then carry on and tell me the rest of them. I was like, okay, good. She's definitely solidly counting in tens. Like, she definitely knows what she's doing now. And so I don't necessarily have to do big tests or assessments or sort of have to be really rigorous week to week to make sure that progress is happening. It is happening. It's a
Mhm.
little sporadic, but it's definitely happening, and most of it is very led by them, which is exactly what you want. Ideally, is for them to be engaged and wanting to do it themselves, and their brains are just constantly puzzling things and figuring stuff out. And I just think they're incredible little people sometimes, that the things that they can come up with or understand, it just fascinates
Yeah.
me. And so anyway, I just think it's really important to try and remember this time of year that we can sometimes feel a bit of a push to assess or to be like, what have we done this year, how much have we achieved, what are we doing next? Like, what goals they need to meet next? And that's okay if it makes you feel a bit better to do that and to kind of get some kind of grounding underneath you. That's
Well, some
totally
people have to
fair.
do it.
But
Some people
yeah,
have to. So if you're in the States, this is the time of year where you've already done probably because we're close to June now. You've already probably done whatever is required for the year in terms of a portfolio review or a online assessment, some kind of test.
hmm,
And that'll of course give you a good benchmark. But it's so funny. I feel like I am never surprised like on the times I've ever done
hmm,
like an assessment. Like, so for example, we're switching our math curriculum that we use. And I can just tell, like, I can almost do the assessment for my children.
yeah,
Like, I can go through and be like, yeah, they can do that. Nope, they can't do that. Cause, like, as you're saying, when you're
hmm,
working with them all the time,
yeah,
you're very aware of their capabilities. It's not like I'm managing 30 students and someone's going to shock me with like the fact that they studied all weekend. Like, I am
no,
very aware of her capabilities.
hmm,
And so I think that for me, because we don't have that requirement, I have given them assessments in the past just out of curiosity and just almost as
yeah,
like a way to say, like, see, they are at this grade level or whatever.
yeah,
But right now, I just, to your point, I feel like if we are progressing in what we're doing, I'm not as worried
no,
about what that looks like on a Scantron sheet or a.
No.
online exam. Yeah.
Exactly. I am just feeling that, as you say, that because when you're playing with them, you're doing stuff with them, you know them so well that realistically, you know where they're at, you know what their strengths and what their weaknesses are, you know where their resilience is struggling a little bit, where they're struggling to actually do a challenging element of their learning. You know why. Like you understand
Mhm.
them so well. And I think as long as you're being as long as you're present in their home ed journey, which a lot of our journey is very much learning side by side. It's like if we're going to learn a new maths concept, chances are I'm going to need to brush up on it too. And so I try and just do it alongside them.
Yeah.
I try and remove as much as possible that kind of authoritative teaching kind of role. It does come out sometimes, but for the most part, I much prefer a discussion. I much prefer us watching a video together, us having a go together, me showing them that sometimes I will make a mistake. Like I'll be trying to do something and I'll be like, I think I might have that wrong actually. Hang on. Like, let me read that again
Yes.
because actually I'm not sure I got the right answer there. And I honestly believe it's just so important to have that really collaborative learning relationship with them because it stops them. I don't know. I much prefer to be able to sit down and just be like, oh, let's do this together. Let's have some fun, like expanding on something you were talking to me about earlier. For example, my youngest brought up amphibians the other day and she was like, what makes them an amphibian? Like, why are they not a reptile? And I was like, I think it's this, this, and this. And we looked it up together and we confirmed that it was. And there's a couple of other things as well. And she's been kind of interested in them a little bit, not heavily, but just a little kind of peak of curiosity. And it works really well with our rainforest topic. So we've done a little bit more on them this morning.
Mhm.
Um, and so sometimes I will give like, should we do some more about this today? But actually, quite a lot of the time, they are reading through a fact book about something and be like, oh, this is really interesting. When we look at this, and it will lead to a conversation about something else. And I guess I just go with the flow. I guess all of this waffle is to say that it's so nice sometimes to just go with the flow. And so I'm noticing I'm not doing an awful lot of forward planning right now. I'm kind of semi-conscious of obviously their strengths and things that they're struggling with. So like I've noticed that my son is seeking a lot more independence right now. He wants more inputs. He wants different people. He wants different communities. He wants more friends. He wants more kids his own age, more boys specifically, I think mostly so that they can go around smacking sticks and chucking acorns and stuff.
Yeah.
But he just wants a lot more kind of sort of boisterous play and sporty things and athletic things. He wants to test himself. He's really kind of growing up. I mean, he's getting older and he's starting to become more self-aware. And he's got more interests, which is really, really lovely to see. And he's starting kayaking. He wants to do archery and he wants to join our local like chess institute as well, which is really cool because he's really getting into his
Cool.
chess. I'm just loving seeing that kind of I'm ready to take on a bit more of the world, to kind of stake my claim a little bit more kind of attitude, which is wonderful. And I just love seeing that about him. And so obviously I'm absolutely encouraging it and creating those opportunities for him wherever I can. I think it's so important to just kind of, in my world anyway, and the way that we do things is to constantly pay attention to what they are interested in, what they're leaning towards, where they're struggling a little bit, where they are having some trouble, like accessing a certain type of learning, or they're struggling to think, or they're struggling to focus, or they're struggling to communicate, or whatever it is that they are having tricky moments with, and to do some research around it to support them with those areas. Because functionally, I'm really just keen on making sure that my kids have got the ability to do those fundamental skills that allow them to then take on the world however they want
Mhm.
to in the future, really. But yeah, it's nice. I think I'm feeling quite calm. I guess that's what I'm getting at here is I'm feeling quite in flow. I feel like it's going well. And so I guess it's a reassurance to anyone who's new to home educating, or even in the first couple of years sometimes can still feel quite hairy, that I must be 5 or so years in now, maybe nearly 6. I can't remember exactly now. I think I've lost track. But I'm actually finally in flow. I actually feel genuinely at ease with what we are doing and achieving on a weekly basis now, on a monthly basis, yearly basis, whatever. But yeah, things feel like they're on track, which is nice. They're both doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can want, right? And that's the goal. I think for us, we are a little bit more, well, we're probably a lot more into planning mode.
Mm.
And I think it sort of comes, I'm sure I've talked about this before, that like this is when, if you are doing like pre-made curriculums or any kind of unit studies and stuff, they all kind of come on sale right now because this
Yeah.
is when the new updates come out and when everyone's starting to plan, especially in the States, if you are in an area where you have to work towards like a portfolio review, they're going to want to see
Mhm.
these things. What are you using, et cetera. And so I think it's a lot more structured in that way. And it just tends to have this flow of like, now is the time
Mm.
to be purchasing for next year. And there's the sales. And so then it floods Instagram and all of social media. And then you're just like feeling like, should I be planning now? And for us, cost is obviously important. So if we are going to purchase something, I am very interested in whether or not I can get it at a discount. And so
Yeah.
it is something that I've been looking at for the last month or so, potentially even longer. And gosh, there's so many things that go into it. It really is like consuming because that's one of those things where you want to say, like, okay, who's creating this curriculum? What are their credentials? Is it like a one off or is it like a super big company that's been doing this for years? And still,
Mhm.
even like, who are the people that are creating it? And then is it secular? Is it not secular? And, all these things that go into every personal family's decision as to what they're doing. So I feel like
Yeah.
I've been living in that world for too long.
Mm.
And I'm ready to have decisions. And I had thought I had made a decision on science and then I saw something else and I was like, wait a minute, let me see. Maybe I'm going to do that. So I'm nearly there. And then our plan is to, as these curriculums arrive, to start them. And so we are not doing much. We're kind of taking our summer break right now and traveling in this month. And then we will have more to do in July. And my kids are doing some camps in August, which is really exciting. We've not done that before. They're not sleepaway, but they are doing a week of pony camp,
Mhm.
which is pretty big. It's like 9 to 4 or something
Mm.
really long for 5 days. So that's going to be tiresome, especially depending on the weather that we have, because they just did a 1 day pony camp from 9 to 4 last week during the really hot term time.
Mhm.
And that night, everyone was whining and they all had headaches and they didn't feel good. And even with all the
Mm.
sunscreen, I think just being outside for that long,
Yeah, it's a lot.
they
This
had,
that heat has been a lot.
yeah, yeah. So I'm hopeful that in August it's not that way.
No,
I don't
it
know that we
shouldn't be
could
as
take
bad,
5 days.
certainly.
Yeah. And then they're doing like a drama week-long class camp as well. So that'll be really fun, but it just means that obviously we won't be doing much schooling during the
Yeah.
month of August
Gosh, the
either.
amount they're going to learn during those windows, though, like the
Yeah.
stuff they'll get to do, the social skills,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
they're gonna pick up so
Yeah.
much.
It's so fun. And like, I think it's just a good time to do some different things,
Mm.
again, because their other stuff isn't on. So
Yeah.
we're not competing with already busy schedules.
Yes.
So I feel like that is good. And I also appreciate like the prepayment aspect of it. Like, I love
Mm.
that they have this pony camp, but we've already paid for it. So, like, when August rolls around, it won't feel like we're spending money on another thing and another, because I
Mm.
feel like you spend more money in the summer.
Yeah,
And I don't know, like we do, if you want to go to London and go have a day out, it just gets really pricey.
it does. Yeah, it
So
does add up.
I feel like planning ahead can help also from
Mm.
just distribution of your payments.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that sounds really fun. I think they're gonna have a blast at those. I think it's interesting, isn't it? There's so many cool things to do in this world, and there's so many fun things they could go and join in with. And it's lovely when they've got a passion or an interest in something because it gives you a hook. It gives you a way to kind of really get them on board with going and doing something. I'm really hoping the same sort of thing starts to happen with the kayaking for my son, because they do loads of like campaways and regattas, and hopefully eventually he'll start to get to go away with them for the weekend from time to time and join in with the regattas and that. Obviously, for the most part, I'll probably end up wanting to go too because I want to go
Yeah.
actually watch him and see him compete and stuff, obviously. So I'll probably end up going as well. But that would be really fun to do, and I think there's some real community there, which sounds really fun. They seem like really lovely people.
Yeah. That's cool.
But anyway, so yeah, so I think whatever stage you're in, guys, like I guess it's hopefully this helps to demonstrate like that me and Ashley both kind of operate similarly but differently. Like we both definitely have the same ethos in terms of like wanting our kids to be completely engaged and happy and sort of following their interests and all the rest of it. And we do have different ways of planning, we have different ways of doing things, but both of them are just as wonderful as each other. And it's so regardless of how you do it
Mhm.
and what you're kind of thinking, I guess what I'm really hoping that you kind of get from this is to try and remember that you don't have to do anything a certain way. We're coming into the end of year, which can add anxiety about what you've achieved. It's going to start adding anxiety about what you're doing for next year. It's going to start making you want to probably assess and see what you're doing and how things are going and how they are and blah. And so if you are starting to feel any of those things, go to the beach. Just go to the beach and just take a breath, because ultimately we have a real wonderful opportunity as a community of people who educate their children very differently to how it's done in school, is to recognize that our kids don't stop learning just because the summer term has come to a close. They don't stop learning because we've gone on holiday. They don't stop learning because we've gone to the beach. In fact, the times when we get out of our day-to-day ritual and go and do new things is probably when they learn the most, frankly, and are the most engaged. But also, it just doesn't matter how it looks as long as they're enjoying themselves as much as possible and they're engaged with it, because there is no summer slide when it comes to home ed. Like, there is no forgetting all of the skills that they've picked up because they've been doing it. They do it all the time. And I mean, we tend to keep things fairly free flowing through the whole year. And we don't tend to take really kind of intentional summer breaks or anything else. Sometimes we do take a couple of weeks over like Christmas, because I really do just want to have Christmas and just enjoy myself and not have to worry about anything. But I will often find myself doing a little bit of just gentle touch planning then and getting myself thinking about what topic we're doing next and that kind of thing. But for the most part, we just tend to keep things ticking over all the time, because then I don't have to feel like, on the days when we don't do a heck of a lot in terms of very
Right.
intentional sit-downy stuff, most days when we are doing intentional sit-downy stuff or proper learning, proper learning with paper and pens. God, I do hear myself sometimes. I'm just like, that's not proper learning. Why do we call it that? There is no such
Traditional.
thing. Yeah, traditional learning. There you go. School-esque kind of learning, where you're sat down learning with a book and a pen and a paper. Sometimes we'll sit and we'll have like a really focused day when we'll do like 4 hours over the course of the day of loads of different things on a project, or we'll go to a museum and we'll spend 2 hours there looking and talking about stuff. And every time we spend more than 45 minutes a day, I am banking time for the days when actually we don't get an awful lot done. But as I said before, days when we don't get an awful lot done, I'm doing so many little like finger speech marks here as I'm talking, are the days when my kids are role playing together and coming up with great games. Like, oh my goodness, the other day, so mid heat wave, I haven't been well this past week either. So I've been properly mostly needing to rest as much as humanly possible. I have not felt well at all. And they were squirting the cars with water guns out the front and got so into it. And I'm not sure now if I mentioned this on the last episode. I feel like maybe I did. But they basically come up with this whole business idea for cleaning people's cars, and they made leaflets and they went and knocked on doors and they started doing this
No,
whole
I haven't
business. And
heard this.
if you
I haven't
not,
heard
oh, it's
this.
just
No.
incredible. They literally just completely by themselves, and I really intentionally didn't get involved because I wanted to see what they would do. And they
Yeah.
asked me to make a leaflet on Canva, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm working, so you'll just bear with me. You'll have to wait until I'm done if you want to use the computer and make it on Canva. And they're like, okay. They've only got a piece of paper, and they wrote out what they wanted to say on it several times to get it nice and neat and make sure it's all spelt correctly. They drew a cute little picture of a car. Then they made an open and close sign for out the front so they could make sure it was out when they were inside. They wanted to go and stick it up on lampposts. And I said, well, you only want to do it today, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, well, you might want to go knock on people's doors then, because it's like Bank Holiday Monday. So people might not
Yeah.
see it. They might not genuinely come out. We're
Right.
probably just
True.
going to be home having a barbecue or sleeping all day. And they're like, oh, okay. So they literally, I didn't even know that they'd gone out the front door. It's a terrible thing to admit. But they went off. We're in a cul-de-sac. It's safe. It's fine. They know a lot of our neighbours. It's all good. But they went off up the road. They were knocking on doors. They chatted to people about what they're up to. And they got a customer.
Oh.
They cleaned our cars so that they had something to show to other people that they could do a good job. They cleaned this other person's car really well. They collected their money. They were so proud. And I really, really intentionally just, the only bit of advice I gave them was to not just stick it on lampposts. That's literally the only thing I said. Everything else, they managed entirely. They came up with their pricing structure. They agreed it. They were working collaboratively all day. I don't think I've ever seen them quite so focused on a task together before. And was so proud of the £2.50 they each got at the end of the day.
Oh,
from their one customer they managed to get. But it also showed some resilience because at lunchtime they hadn't had a customer yet and they were really upset that they'd done it all at work and they hadn't got any customers. They weren't going to make any money. And I was like, guys, I'm an entrepreneur. Do you think I've run businesses and then literally just like rolled money in that first same day? Like, that's not how it works sometimes. You've got to work for it. Like, what could you do differently? How could you try and get some more? And I said, did you have people who said yes? And I was like, they're like, yeah, we did have people say they'd do it. And I was like, do you know where they were? What number were they? Like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, so you best go and have another little wander around and knock again and just say, we've got a slot. We're free if you want to bring the car down. And it will
yeah.
jog them to go and get in their car and bring it down to you. So like, you've got to persevere. And they really did. And I was so proud of them.
I love
And so I think ultimately, sometimes these long summer days that feel like they're just really empty and you haven't got anything planned, or you're not well, or you've got boring stuff that you need to get done, or you're working, or whatever it is that has to still happen, it's incredible how much they will find to do for themselves if given enough boredom. So they will figure it out. But as I say, I can't remember what my original point was now, but they are really, I think we just have to trust sometimes that they will start to kind of work on some skills that we maybe are worried about in their own time as well, sometimes as well. Because some of the things like them working collaboratively, the resilience of kind of getting over it being a bit disappointing and then persevering is something which both of them really struggle with. When something is hard, usually they will just get frustrated and stop.
mm,
Actively writing something with a pen, still trying to get them to actually engage with that, which is really hard work a lot of the time. So
mm,
that's like, again, lovely when they do it independently. So yeah, all these things matter. But I did sit and actually kind of, when I logged it all into Strew, I was really going through and kind of going, right, okay, what are all the things they did today? And it ticked so many boxes. I mean, you've got literacy, numeracy, social skills,
mm,
entrepreneurialism, business running, like photocopying technology. Like there was so much that they learned throughout that day that just, yeah, was just incredible as a self-led project. And so that helps you sometimes when you sit there and you kind of log it all in and you go, okay, great, this has ticked so many boxes.
yeah.
And honestly, most things will tick several boxes at once. And it's activities like that I know kind of we end up saying stuff like, oh, we should just do baking. That's maths, that's reading, that's whatever. And it absolutely can be. Like, it can be a great
Mm,
source of activities. I think obviously we have to vary what that activity is that can cover lots of different bases. But yeah, there's so many examples like that, like trips to the beach, hunting for cool things on the beach, like going and playing mini
mhm,
golf, counting up the scores, trajectory and angles. Like, you can look for it anywhere. And so sometimes live in the moment, have some fun with your kids this summer, and maybe even use it as a bit of a challenge to sit back, not push, and then see what happens as well. See what actually they end up doing and log it after. Like, when it's happened, think about it afterwards and notice a lot of the amazing things they actually ended up doing without us actually making anything happen ourselves at all. Like, just ended up just doing it all by themselves. I find that quite
yeah.
fun sometimes, especially when you go on holiday.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we are like my kids are either like really getting along or like just two are getting along and someone's left out. And like yesterday, I just feel like we're battling some jet lag and that just adds another layer to
Mm.
things. And I mean, said at one point, I was like, stop pinching. Like, and then at one point we were trying on shoes, I got, like, kicked in the face, like, because someone slipped and, like, the foot went up and my head was right there, and I was like, "Guys, we've got to get it together." So when you do find the moments, like, right now they're playing I can hear them, and they're playing really, really well together,
Mm.
and usually it does involve horses of some kind, like playing horses in whatever location we're currently in, even a shoe store. But that's great because they're all getting along and no one's being left
Mm.
out, and I'm just gonna yeah, we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not disturbing that. That can carry on
No,
just as it is.
all day long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't
Mhm.
it? And I think if this gives you any insight into us at all, so obviously one of the other things I wanted to kind of cover this episode is kind of who we are or what we care about and stuff. And hopefully this has given you a good window into a bit more about our home ed family lives. But yeah,
Mm,
we're honestly, I feel like this year has been a bit of a whirlwind. Obviously, finishing my ADHD coaching qualification has been huge for me. I've started to get some inquiries coming through, which is awesome. So I also, aside from supporting home educating families, I also support ADHD kind of entrepreneurs, so people who are trying to start their own businesses or kind of building more fractional careers, etc., kind of working more freelance. So I've worked in a role similar as a sort of virtual assistant business strategist for about 9 years. And so the ADHD coaching has kind of already been a part of it for a long time. And now I
Now
just
it's
have
just
a proper,
official.
yeah, no, it's just official. But I've been really excited to have some inquiries coming through this week, people who are trying to get their brains in order, kind of get their work style sorted out so they stop kind of fighting against their ADHD brains. So it's crazy the amount of projects we can be working on simultaneously. Like I've got the home ed stuff, I'm running my ADHD business, my virtual assistant business, I'm obviously supporting my clients, I've got my podcast, there's so many things.
Yeah,
So
that's how
this
it ends
like
up, isn't it?
there's so many amazing stuff that we can be interested in our day-to-day lives and stuff that we have to prioritize. So yeah, super grateful that the podcast is going as well as it is. Our numbers are growing like hugely. We had our best month ever when we first came back in April, which is really awesome to see that instant uptake again of the podcast. So thank you all those loyal listeners who are still tuning in every week. Apologies for the last one where I accidentally forgot to hit publish after I finished uploading it all. So it didn't actually go out until about lunchtime. So apologies for that. It was all ready and there to go, and I literally just completely forgot to press the save
Just
button.
like walk away.
I
Mic drop. We're good.
Never mind, you got it in the end. But yeah, so yeah, I say me in general is my lovely ADHD chaos. I have two little whirlwinds myself, and I am in chaos and just trying to prioritize something. So I've decided I'm going to get some t-shirts made that just say just pick a thing and do a thing, because frankly everything in my life feels equally as important and shouty at any one moment in time. So just try not to prioritize. I spend all my time planning and writing lists, and I need to just go with the flow. Sew on some badges onto a blanket. Just do a thing. Like there's so many
We need
things
to
that need
get
doing.
some merch made for that. We've got so many little slogans that come up. We need to get
Yeah,
some stuff done.
I definitely do. I mean, I've got my bumper sticker on the car for the podcast. So if you ever see a car with a bumper sticker on for the podcast, that's mine.
That's yours.
Come and say hi. But I need to get some made because I'm sure other people would love to have them too.
Yeah,
But it's
definitely.
expensive to do them. I have to bulk buy them, people. So I have to have some commitment. If I'm going to buy them, everyone needs to buy them. So you
Yeah,
give
we
them
need
away
to
to
do
subscribers.
that.
It would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let more
that would be a
people
good
know about
idea.
it. But I have to say as
Cool.
well, I really need you guys to be rating and commenting on the podcast episodes when you listen to them. Pretty please. I'm going to do a proper personal request here. Because it'd be
Yeah.
so nice to get some recent reviews on the podcast. So I think our latest like proper review is like 2024. And I know there's lots of you listening every week. So someone has got to write us a review, please, this week. It'll make my week. I want to get some
We
up-to-date ones on the website. Because I know so many of you are listening. I get people Instagramming me all the time telling me about the episodes they've enjoyed listening to and stuff. I'm just like, can you just write that on Spotify for me or on Apple Music? Just quickly,
Yes.
just go and just copy and paste, just straight in there for me. Because the more you share it and comment on it and like it and rate it and review it, the more those platforms share it
Where it
for us.
reaches. Yeah, exactly.
And so then
We need
obviously more
you.
people will find you. Find you, find
Yeah.
us. We won't find you, don't worry. Right. That's me waffling over. Any last thoughts, Ashley, before we bore the ears
Yeah,
off of
no,
our lovely
I
followers?
think I think the takeaways were from this for plan a vacation
Mm-hmm.
and rate our podcast, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And carry on listening. We'll have our
Of
topic
course.
challenge back again next week. So we will
Yes. Oh
have
gosh.
hopefully gotten around to covering protest and social change with our kids. Ha ha ha. Figuring it out. I've
We'll
got
do
some
it.
ideas. I haven't done much yet. Oh God. I must get on with it.
I have done some stuff too. I haven't brought it to the little people, but I have gathered.
Started your thinking. Well done. You've done
Yes.
better than me.
Yes. Yeah, but like you said, planning is one thing, executing is another. So
Oh dear. Find your friends,
we'll,
people. Find someone who loves to plan and then
we'll
just
see.
go to their house every day. It'll be fine. All right, guys. Have a fantastic week and we'll see you again next time.
You've been listening to the Big Home Ed Conversations podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Big Home Ed Podcast for updates. Also, check out our website at bighomedpodcast.com. We'll be back next week to talk about our experiences, bringing the topic of protest and social change to our children. We hope to hear your experiences as well, so come talk to us about it on social media. Thanks for listening.